And now we ask that you remain standing and join in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed as the twilight passing, whose dark shines and bright stars through the perilous sky. On the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rugged red eyes and all bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home
Hello, Butler fans. This is Drew Favica.
And I'm Kelly Hallinan.
I'll be doing play-by-play for Butler Sports, and Kelly will be joining me as the analyst for today. A beautiful day of soccer.
So today the Butler Bulldogs will be facing up against the Xavier Musketeers. In this series all-time, Butler leads 14-6-1. So this will be their 22nd meeting, and we'll see what the outcome will be.
Xavier has not recorded a clean sheet, so I've heard for this year. So I've heard that it's set to be a high-scoring match. Butler's forward Wilmer Cabrera Jr. has got off to a slower start in the beginning of the year, but he's just rounding into form. So we'll see how it goes.
Yusuf El-Masoud, Jason Gordon, and Khalid.
Heading into today's game, Xavier is 3-4, 0-2 in Big East play, whereas Butler is 1-0-1 in Big East play. Butler beat DePaul 5-0, a draw with Marquette last game. Xavier has fell to Creighton and DePaul so far. DePaul actually they brought to double overtime and lost 3-2. So they're looking for their first win in Big East play, and Butler is looking to capitalize today and get their second win.
Xavier with some nice control there in the beginning, but Butler applying some pressure and with their first possession of the game. Looks like Xavier will retain possession with Rhys Myers falling out of bounds right there. and quickly gives it up for a Gabrielle Dergy goal kick.
So heading into today's game for Gabrielle Dergy, he recorded his second clean sheet last game. Both of his shutouts this season were against Big East opponents, and he has 9 shutouts in his career. So he's had a strong start so far this season. He has not allowed a goal in the last 255 minutes of play. So we'll see if he can get another one today. Not a lot of balls have gone past him so far this season.
Yeah, Kelly, we were talking about earlier before the match today how underrated Gabby is. He didn't make the preseason All Big East team, but he was one of the leaders in saves last year in the Big East, and he drastically improved from his freshman year.
Definitely. On those big preseason Big East honors, though, was Wilmer Cabrera Jr. and Jack Haywood, 2 great offensive players for the Dogs, and we'll definitely see some action with them today.
Griffin DeBolt tries to connect with Wilmer Cabrera Jr. Look for the Bulldogs to keep trying to connect with Cabrera Jr. Either with DeBolt up the sidelines or Haywood with those long booming kicks.
Tommy Visser with the cross right there. Butler's first time this game, it looks like, really having that control and an opportunity right there. Last game, they actually outshot Marquette 21-8. So they've been getting a lot of shots on goal. And you can see here, they tried to get that one, but right back to Xavier.
Hemi Nasser just with the misconnecting pass right there. Looks like he'll be kind of a bridge guy for those types of passes today.
Yeah, Hemi Nasser actually was able to get the Dogs' first goal of the season, his first goal as well this season against SIUE. It was a loss, but able to get one up there on the board for them. And he hasn't scored since, so I'm sure today he's looking to capitalize on that, see if he can get another one. Some other major scorers, obviously Wilmer Cabrera Jr. He's actually assisted on or scored 5 of the Dogs' 6 goals this season. So he's a huge offensive presence, whether he's scoring the goals, assisting them. He's kind of always involved in their offense, which is huge. And Tommy Visser, he's another one to look out for. He had a goal in that DePaul game, but he's had a great season so far. He's a redshirt freshman, redshirted from injury last year, but he's definitely someone to look out for, number 8. Attacker, he attacks, assists, he can really do it all, and he's been very present on the field for the Dogs.
What do you like, you talking to me about this before the match, what do you like so much about Tommy's game in particular? What's his style of play?
Yeah, I mean, he just, not being able to play last year, I hadn't really heard much about him, but coming in, he is just very present on the field. He's always kind of touching the ball or passing it, or he's an attacker, and I think that it's kind of cool that no one really knew about him because of injury, and he had to redshirt, and now he's already been such a presence so early on in the season.
And then for the Xavier Musketeers, Jerome Jolly with 1 goal and 5 assists on the year. He's a great passer, and he's often feeding to Carson Henderlong, their forward, number 12.
Yeah, Jolly and Henderlong are two players I feel like we'll definitely mention a lot today. Jolly leads the Big East in assists with 5. He's actually 4th in the NCAA with that stat, which is very interesting. Henderlong also leads the Big East in goals. So 2 names I'm sure we'll talk a lot about today.
Hemi Nasser and Jerome Jolly collide there, and it looks like Hemi comes out with the foul.
One player that Butler is missing in today's matchup is Eric Hollingkamp. He went down last game in the first overtime period against Marquette. Not sure exactly what the injury was, but he obviously is not on the field right now. He had a goal in that DePaul game as well from way out. I think it was around the 30-yard line, so I'm sure Butler is missing him today, but hopefully he will be back soon. Hopefully his injury isn't too severe. We have Nasser and Visser right here trying to get something going, but Xavier's applying a lot of pressure.
Staying on the left side of the field for a lot of this possession. I wonder if they try switching the field at some point here. DeBolt just boots it out, giving the ball to Xavier.
And coming into today's game, obviously, Butler had beat DePaul 5-0. Xavier lost to DePaul, as I said, in double overtime, 3-2. But one thing they both have in common with one of their opponents, they both had a non-conference matchup against St. Louis. Both of them lost. So they're pretty even on that point.
Perrin Barnes wins possession there. He and Rhys Myers will be providing the defense for the Butler Bulldogs. 2 strong defenders. Rhys is a very built player, wins a lot of possessions. Then Perrin has a lot of speed, and he's also very built. Kelly, we were talking about this before the match as well. Rhys Myers, he's a guy that's kind of a glue guy for the Butler Bulldogs. What do you like about his game?
Definitely. I think with him, he has the leadership, he has the experience. He is a senior, so he's been in many games, faced many different matchups. Looks like right now we have a Xavier breakaway. Let's hope he can stop that. Good save right there by Dergy. But Rhys Myers, I actually was able to talk to him before this season, after their loss actually against SIUE, before Big East play. And he had an injury last year and hadn't played in a soccer game in 14 months. So he was extremely excited to be back on the field, extremely excited to be able to play, obviously, what he loves to do. But I'm glad that he's back on the field. Surgery went okay. He started all 18 matches in 2019. He was a transfer. He transferred from Eastern Florida State. And I think, he's a great defender, but even you'll see on Butler corners and on the offensive end, he's always lined up right there trying to get ahead or trying to get a goal. So I think he's just a versatile player, defense or offense, and he can do a lot for this team.
Xavier doing a nice job of holding possession here.
Yeah, Xavier's definitely been in control for most of this game. Still a lot of time left. Scoreless if anyone is just joining. 34 minutes to go before the halftime break, but still scoreless, and Xavier definitely has been in control so far. We had Wilmer Cabrera Jr. right there, applying some pressure. Made the Musketeers panic a little bit.
Yeah, Wilmer, although he's only a sophomore, he has a lot of professional experience playing with the Houston Dynamo's Youth Academy team, the Rio Grande Valley Toros. And his dad, of course, is coach and former player, Colombian national team player, Wilmer Cabrera. Butler applying some pressure here, trying to stop Xavier's possession. Like you said, Kelly, they've been in possession for a lot of this game. They haven't really created many chances, but they've been in possession for a lot of the game.
Definitely.
Coach Paul Snape did not look very happy when Butler was not able to get possession there, but Gabby Dergy with the save.
Yeah, both teams are definitely attackers. They're not afraid to take those shots on goal. You talked about how Butler outshot Marquette last game by so much, but Xavier actually is second in shots with 84 shots in the Big East. So both teams are not afraid to definitely attack and instead of just waiting for the right opportunity.
The ball goes to Justin Savona. Kelly, we were talking about this pre-match as well. Justin Savona, kind of a surprise player for the Bulldogs, right?
Yeah, definitely. He actually he subbed in the St. Louis game, had not started at this point yet, and I think honestly he just got some eyes on him. He had a good game, and ever since then he's been starting, and I think that that's huge for him. He comes out of Michigan. I believe he is a senior too, so making an impact in his senior year is huge because obviously he has that experience. But he's definitely been a huge presence on the field these past few games, been able to help not only on the defensive end, but midfields, and he's just been all over for them.
Savona, one of the many players from Michigan on this Butler roster. Xavier tries a give and go, but Perrin Barnes breaks it up and kicks it out. Ball goes back to Xavier after a throw-in that goes off a Butler offensive player.
Obviously, we haven't seen a Xavier-Butler matchup in a while because of the fall season being postponed, but something of note. So Xavier graduated 2 All-Big East performers, one first team, one third team. and but they're able to return 4 of its 6 leading scorers, which is huge from the 2019 season. One of those, Carson Henderlong, who we talked about before, he ranked 2nd on the team with 7 goals, 3 game-winning goals, and 1 assist. And then Noah Baffo added 8 points, 2 goals, 4 assists, and then Taylor Krull chipped in 2 goals. So while they did lose 2 stars on their team, they definitely have a few returners that we can keep a lookout for today.
Tommy Visser tries a shot at the net, but just kicks it out. That was a little nice control in Xavier's half with Wilmer Cabrera Jr. and Jack Haywood and Tommy Visser.
Right here we'll have the goalie, Matthew Rosenberg, with a goal kick. The goalkeeper, he played and started in all 17 matches in 2019, posting a little bit over a 1-goal average with 5 complete shutouts. He made 74 saves as well, ranked 4th in the Big East and 16th in the NCAA.
Wilmer Cabrera Jr. putting on some moves in Xavier's half yet again. I wrote a story on Wilmer Cabrera Jr. for the Butler Collegian, and I interviewed Coach Paul Snape for the story. And he said when he found out Wilmer Cabrera Jr. was deciding to go to college, he was actually really surprised. He expected him to go straight to the pros. But Wilmer spoke with his dad, and he decided it was best for him if he got an education, which he values, and played college soccer.
Yeah, and thank God he did, because he has been a huge offensive threat for Butler. I mean, I feel like we talk about him every single broadcast because he is just so good. but he's come in as a freshman and just had a huge impact, winning Big East weekly honors, offensive player of the week, preseason honors. Definitely a name I'm sure a lot of people, pretty much anyone who watches Butler soccer, is familiar with.
Well, it's interesting too, right, Kelly, because Brandon Gould was in the striker position. Wilmer was kind of feeding him the ball a lot, but now he's kind of taken that Gould position as well as kind of the position he played last year as a Butler player. Is on the ground.
I think that may be Griffin DeBolt on the ground right there.
Looks like he collided with a musketeer when the ball was in the air.
So you talked about why Wilmer Cabrera Jr. came to Butler, and I know you also know why Gabrielle Dergy came to Butler. I thought that was kind of a story that we had talked about.
Yeah, so I spoke with Gabby last year in November of 2019, and he told me that, it was a very simple decision to come to Butler. He looked at Eric Dix, the former goalkeeper for Butler's saves increasing every season, just the improvement that Dergy saw, and he decided that he wanted to improve as well, so he decided to come to Butler for that reason. He actually spoke with Eric Dick. Going into the season, they actually spoke in Plum Market, which is a cafeteria in Butler, and from there, their relationship continues to this day. As DeBolt gets up, and he looks like he is walking it off.
Looks like we have a substitution for DeBolt coming in now.
Bulldog substitution. 14, Eric Hollenkamp into the match for 26, Griffin DeBolt.
So it looks like Eric Hollenkamp was able to recover from last game. He just subbed in for Griffin DeBolt. Did not start, though, like he has been, but Glad to see that he is okay and joining the Dogs in today's matchup.
Also good to see Griffin DeBolt walking off his injury. We'll see if he returns or what happens with his situation. Coach Snape telling the Bulldogs to bring it up, bring it up. I think he wants to see more offense out of the Bulldogs as we approach the 20th minute in the first half. And if you're just joining us, this is ButlerSports.com. I'm Drew Favica.
And I'm Kelly Hallinan.
And it is 0-0 in the 21st minute in the first half. Butler Bulldogs versus the Xavier Musketeers. Wilmer with a little Maradona move, but he couldn't make it through. Looks like Butler will retain possession.
Justin Savona right there with the cross, but Xavier's defense able to clear it out. Butler's going to keep attacking though as Perrin Barnes sends it to Visser.
Rhys Myers really pushing up forward, higher than expected. But again, Coach Snape looks like he wants to keep applying this pressure and keep possession in Xavier's half. Visser with a deep shot, but it just trickles out of bounds for a Xavier goal kick.
Yeah, one of Eric Hollenkamp's shots in that little sequence. Looks like it hit Xavier's number 11, Bogarine. He was grabbing his leg on the field right now. Looks like they will stop the clock and he will walk it off. Another player to mention in today's matchup for his third career start is Butler's Brendan Hicks. Brendan started one game last season. He started the last game this season. His kind of standout game that I remember a lot of people talk about was against Providence. He was at Providence last year in a win, 3-1 win. He scored 2 goals. Those were his 2 goals of the season. And despite seeing action in 15 contests, that was kind of his breakout game. He won a Big East Freshman of the Week honor after that.
Rhys Myers dives in for the save. Looks like it also hit off Gabby Dergy.
Definitely a close opportunity right there for the Musketeers. Team that is not afraid to shoot. As we were saying, they've taken more shots than their opponents in 4 out of their last 7 matches. And they've already gotten quite a few up today.
Wilmer kicks it up to himself, and when the ball was in the air, he was shoved from behind, drawing some ire from Xavier fans.
Butler's defense trying to get something going, trying to find some gaps in Xavier's defense.
Jack Haywood with a fantastic pass, switching the field to Tommy Visser. Just misses the pass to Hemi Nasser.
Another thing of note, you may be able to hear some fans at today's matchup. Butler Athletics just recently allowed 25% capacity at most home sporting events this spring. Obviously, we have all of our sports in action, all of the fall sports, some winter sports still, and then our spring sports. Today actually was a jam-packed day with a football game, softball doubleheader, baseball game, volleyball game, and now a men's soccer game. So I'm sure these fans are glad to be back at the Selleck Bowl watching the Dogs this season.
It was a 4-on-1, and Jerome Jolly was just marching through Butler's defense. Not before Parent Barnes kicks it out of bounds for a Xavier corner kick, which looks like Jerome Jolly will take.
Still scoreless, 0-0, 19 minutes left for this first half. Bell tried to send it in right there, but Butler's defense able to clear it out. Jolly's going to try again.
Fans yelling for a penalty as Xavier's Felix Botangen goes down, but looks like a penalty on Botangen. Haywood with an overzealous kick down the field, lands in Xavier's feet. Kelly, what have you seen so far from the Bulldogs and the Musketeers?
Yeah, it's surprising that Xavier's kind of controlled the flow of the game so much, especially because it is scoreless. So kind of surprising, especially after watching last game when Butler was all over on the offensive end against Marquette. So kind of surprising. It's kind of been the opposite for them this game, but for both teams being so not afraid of scoring or shooting and having quite a few goals in their last few matchups, I'm surprised it's still scoreless, honestly. 0-0, 17 minutes to go. Some good shots by Xavier. Not too many open looks for Butler just yet, but still quite a bit of time to go. And we did get a fresh set of legs in right now. I believe Jack Streeberger has subs in. So hopefully they're trying to figure something out right now, get something going with some substitutions.
And then for the Xavier Musketeers, Bryce Curran subs in, as well as Lotum Bendov. Xavier applying a little bit of their own pressure, winning possession.
Definitely a little bit of passing there between Bell and Curran on that sideline.
Again, Felix Botangen goes down, and Xavier fans again calling for a penalty. But looking at Botangen and Carson Henderlong, they had two nice connecting give and goes, one to switch the field and then another going straight at the goal. Those connections were really impressive.
Yeah, in the Musketeers' last matchup, Tangen had his 3rd goal on Wednesday, 7th of his career. So he's another offensive presence for them.
He's extremely aggressive.
That was a good decision by Butler's goalkeeper, Dergy, to kind of come out before he can get a foot on it.
Dergy told me also in November of 2019 that when he came from Italy, the most confusing thing for him was not the language change, but all the lines on the Selleck Bulls field. The football lines, as well as the soccer lines, was an adjustment he had to make, and he said it resulted in some of the struggles he had as a freshman in the beginning of the year.
I've heard a lot of them, Butler players who have come from other countries, kind of note the differences in even playing just college soccer here compared to in England or Italy or Spain or wherever they're from. Definitely, I can't imagine between the language barrier and classes and now even a different game in some ways. I'm sure it's very challenging, but luckily they've been here for a few years, and most of them, I'm sure, have adjusted pretty well.
As Barnes with another rejection, sending it out of bounds for another Xavier corner kick. Eustace Kapanen will take the corner instead of Jolly this time.
Looks like Tangen is able to get a head on that, but a little bit too high. It's going to be Dergy with a goal kick.
Yeah, if Tangen keeps getting... He stays in the mix, and he's somehow able to evade either Myers or Barnes' defense, which is very stringent defense. Hemi nice with some nice footwork, able to get it out of a double team.
Hollenkamp tries to either cross it or shoot, but goes out. It's going to be back to Xavier, back to Rosenberg. One interesting piece of history about Xavier and Butler and their kind of soccer history is that Xavier last won at Butler in 1994. It was on October 28th, so typical spring season. They won 4-1, and that was their last time winning at Butler. So I'm sure Butler is hoping to continue the tradition of the wins at home, since it's been quite some time since the Musketeers have upset them on their own field.
As Ethan King comes in for Hemi Nasser. Kelly, you wrote a story on Ethan King, I believe, last year. What's that interesting fact about Ethan King?
Yeah, so he actually found his own charity. It's called Charity Ball. It relates to soccer. And not only does he donate soccer balls across Africa, but he also is helping provide clean drinking water. He's setting up tournaments to level the fields for girls and boys playing soccer. He's just doing a lot for the game of soccer off of the field. And outside of the United States. He's a native of Michigan. So being able to make those connections across the world and help people out all through something he loves to do, which is playing soccer. It was a really cool story to write. His story is awesome. His whole family is awesome. They all take part. He has a brother that plays soccer as well. And just what they're doing off the field is extremely remarkable. And I love to talk about it and give that credit where credit's due, because he's very humble about it, and what he's doing is really awesome.
Yeah, what an awesome idea, not only for the game of soccer, but for humans in general.
Definitely. It's good to see him too. He had quite a bit of playing time last game, subbing in, coming off the bench, both in the first and the second half. And he kind of not only provides that, set of fresh legs, but brings a lot of energy. He's aggressive. He's running up and down the field, trying to make something happen. Just a lot of energy he brings to the field, which is very nice.
Perrin Barnes with a slide tackle, able to gain possession there. Visser will take the throw-in with 10 minutes remaining in the first half. 0-0 Butler Bulldogs and Xavier Musketeers.
And just like that, it looks like it'll go back to Xavier. They've had it for quite some time.
Back to the Bulldogs after an errant pass.
Back to the Bulldogs, 26, Griffin DeBolt. For 14, Eric Hollenkamp.
So it looks like Griffin DeBolt is back in. If you saw earlier, he did sub out. Looked like he had a little injury, but he was able to walk it off, back in the game for the Dogs. Glad to hear he's okay. The clock is stopped with 9 minutes and 19 seconds to go in this first half. Looks like the refs are discussing something with Coach Snape. And it looks like Eric Hollenkamp is coming back out for Griffin DeBolt. Maybe they were not ready for that substitution just yet.
Substitution was reversed. 14, Eric Hollenkamp back for Griffin DeBolt.
Xavier with some open field as they switched fields, but just lost possession. Back to Rhys Myers and Butler's defense.
Justin Savona was able to get ahead on it right there. A little bit of back and forth right now. Xavier ultimately comes away with it.
Nice defense from Jack Haywood coming up from the midfield to gain possession, but it will look like it's going back to the Musketeers. We talked about the Bulldogs, Kelly, but what have you seen from the Xavier Musketeers with 7 minutes remaining in this first half?
Yeah, I think, normally my mentality is whoever gets the first goal is the team that's in control, the team that has the momentum. They control the flow of the game because soccer obviously is pretty low scoring in most cases, and when you have one goal, that could be the only goal of the match. But in this case, it's scoreless. No one has really gotten too close of a shot, and And the fact that Xavier's kind of been able to hold on this whole time and control the flow is really interesting to me, because it's an even playing field right now. But just the fact that they've been able to, have such an offensive presence and being able to challenge Butler's strong defense has kind of stuck out to me. I kind of expected, Butler had that insane game against DePaul, 5-0. Most goals they've had against a team since 2012 when they won 6-0 against Richmond. So I thought after, how much they beat DePaul by and Xavier fell to DePaul, that it would be a little bit different. But I guess, every team matches up differently. And these teams actually seem to be matching up pretty well.
As Butler controls in their own half. Trying to create something. They haven't had many chances, if any at all, so far in the first half.
Jack Haywood able to get it by a few Xavier defenders right there. He has been a crucial part of their midfield, just controlling really everything, doing the free kicks, doing the corners, getting it up the field. He has an extremely strong foot, very accurate kicks. So I'm sure that he will definitely have something to do in today's offense if Butler is able to get a goal. Tommy Visser trying to get it before it goes out of bounds, but just could not make it. And it's going to be Bell with a throw-in.
18 Parker Kroll for 12 Carson Henderlong.
And Xavier makes a substitution with the debut in this game of Taylor Kroll.
Looks like Xavier's able to get it from Ethan King when the Bulldogs were about to have a little breakaway, but Perrin Barnes right here trying to step up, clear it before Xavier can make anything happen.
And Xavier fans are not happy about that one. It looked like Perrin Barnes may have clipped a Xavier offensive player, but ultimately another goal kick for Gabby Dergy.
Yeah, quite a few Xavier fans here. I honestly hear them more than I hear the Butler fans, but I think that's because they want the calls.
Yeah, they're much louder right now. And they've also controlled, to be fair, more in the box or near the box than the Bulldogs have.
Definitely. One thing of note from the Bulldogs' last game against Marquette, Butler had 14 corner kicks compared to Marquette's 5. This game, Xavier has had a few more corner kick opportunities than Butler. Butler, I don't believe, has had any yet. But definitely, they didn't score on any of those corners last game. So I think something to improve on, whether it's this game or the coming games, is just capitalizing on those set pieces, on those corners, those passes, because, they had 14 opportunities and the game ended up being a draw. So, one of those, someone gets a header, it goes in, that could obviously change the pace of the whole entire game. So I think Butler kind of working on those, being able to finish off of those corner kicks, and then also just in transition, they've had a few opportunities that, the shots have just gone wide or kicked out and given to Rosenberg, Xavier's goalie. I think just capitalizing on those opportunities will be huge come the second half with just 3 minutes left in this first one. Looks like the refs saw Wilmer Cabrera Jr. step out of bounds, and Bell will throw it over to Xavier's defense. It's going to be Cruel who had it, number 19.
2 minutes and change remaining as the Xavier Musketeers and the Butler Bulldogs are tied 0-0 in the first half. getting really physical on Butler's half as Butler's Eric Hollenkamp gets in a little bit of a shouting match with the Xavier Musketeer player, but it looks like they're broken up.
Yeah, that was Peyton Miller right there. I think he kind of bumped into Jack Haywood too a little bit before that, and then had that little altercation with Eric Hollenkamp, but refs didn't call anything, and right back to play. And Brendan Hicks right there tried to advance it up the fields, but nobody was there in time. It's going to go back yet again to Xavier's goalie, Rosenberg.
It is getting quite physical on both sides, mostly on Xavier's, on Butler's half of the field, as both teams might be a little bit frustrated that they're not getting anything going.
Definitely. I think with just under a minute 30 to go in this first half, the frustration's definitely sinking in. Scoreless, both teams trying to get something going before the half to kind of give them that momentum.
Butler with 4 shots and Xavier with 5 shots.
Just about exactly a minute to go.
1 minute to play.
And Xavier is looking to get one last chance before the halftime break. Extremely accurate kick right there by Xavier, but no other teammates there to kind of get that in, and Gabrielle Dergy was able to catch it and come away with it, send it up the field.
"20 seconds in the first half. Xavier keeps trying to push it on the left side of the field. Butler just trying to get it out, but they keep kicking it back to the Musketeers as Dergy makes a diving save.
And just like that, we are still scoreless. The start of halftime between Butler and Xavier.
Tied at 0.
We will take a quick break. Thank you so far for everyone who has tuned into this first half of the Butler men's soccer matchup versus the Xavier Musketeers. Again, scoreless. We will take a quick 10-minute break, or 15-minute break now, and we will see you again. Thanks for tuning into the Butler Athletics broadcast. I'm Kelly Hallinan.
And I'm Drew Favica. See you soon. Welcome back to the Butler Athletics broadcast with Butler facing off against Xavier men's soccer. This is Drew Favica doing play-by-play, and alongside me is...
I'm Kelly Hallinan.
Butler tied 0-0 with Xavier as we start the second half. Butler trying to improve their 1-4-1 record, and Xavier trying to improve their 3-4 record.
Yeah, while both teams have 4 losses when it comes to Big East play, Butler has 1 win, 1 draw. Meanwhile, Xavier's 0-2. So Xavier's looking for their very first win, while Butler's just looking to improve that record and fill in that preseason coaches poll. They were picked number 1 in the Midwest region. So trying to make sure that comes true.
And explain to the listeners what the Midwest and the East Division, what the Big East did with that.
Yeah, so obviously with COVID, every school is trying to limit traveling and keep their teams, student athletes, coaches, fans, everyone safe. And so in order to kind of do that, they decided to split up the Big East when it comes to soccer. So there's a Midwest division, so that's going to be, Creighton, Marquette, DePaul, Butler, Xavier, those Midwest teams, compared to the East Division, which is going to be the Georgetown, St. John, Providence, UConn, obviously a new addition, Seton Hall, and those East Coast teams. That way, that'll kind of limit the travel. Something different, though, I'm obviously going to miss that classic Butler, Georgetown, Butler, St. John's, those ranked teams. Those matchups are always awesome, very fun to watch. But it's kind of cool because not only will Butler be able to host all of the teams in the Midwest region, but they'll also be able to go to their fields. So normally you just play a team once and it's over until you see them in the Big East tournament. Whereas this year they're able to see all the same teams they see on the Selig Bowl on their own turf. So definitely, with any teams they lose to or draw, having that second chance could be huge. And then it'll be interesting kind of if they ever end up facing those East teams, how they'd match up after not seeing them all season for quite some time. But yeah, that's how they decided to split it up this year. So a little bit less competition, seeing some of the same teams, but honestly, just happy to have a season no matter who they play.
Kelly, in the first 2 minutes, we're seeing a lot more action and activity and energy from the Butler Bulldogs, especially on the right side of the field with DJ Hicks, who I don't remember touching the ball much in the first half. What are you looking for the Bulldogs to do to improve upon in the second half?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, they definitely came out with a lot more fire, it seemed like, than they had finishing that first half. I'm sure the message in the locker room was, get control the flow of the game. This is your turf. You guys are the ones coming in with a better record. So they definitely came out. I think, that break kind of allowed them to refocus. And something that they have to do this half, I think, is honestly get the ball to Wilmer, get the ball to Cabrera Jr. Even if he's not going to be the one putting the ball in the back of the net, he might be the one assisting it. I had that one stat that was that he's assisted on or scored 5 of the 6 goals this season. So all goals but 1, he has had some sort of involvement in. So I think getting it to him, he's a playmaker. He makes things happen for this team. And, when Wilmer has the ball and he's running down the field with it, I'm very confident that something good will happen. We'll make of it. So I think getting the ball to him, I think another key player we talked about, Tommy Visser, Jack Haywood, them two are huge in controlling the ball on the offensive end. So once them 3 can kind of get something going, I think that the Bulldogs will be in good shape for this half. And then as for Xavier, what do you think Xavier kind of has to do? They've had some good shots. They've had some opportunities more compared to Butler in the first half. What do they kind of have to do the second half to, finish those shots?
Yeah, like you said, in the first half, Xavier, I would say they controlled the ball more than Butler, especially in the beginning of in the first half, and they created some chances with Felix Botangan, their striker, there in the first half. I think just capitalizing on those opportunities that they were presented to in the first half, I think that's the next step. But again, like you said, Butler having a lot more energy and activity and possession in this second half, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and just then, it looks like Henderlong for Xavier was called for a foul. Some fans not too happy about it, but the ref explained it to him, and it'll be Butler ball.
Butler switching the fields thanks to the play of DJ Hicks. Just gives it up, but looks like a Xavier defender was tugging on the jersey of a Butler offensive player. And Butler will have a free kick from about the 30-yard line on Xavier's half. Griffin DeBolt tips it with his head, and looks like Butler will end up with the corner somehow.
So that's going to be Jack Haywood taking the corner. He takes all of their corners pretty much. Normally he splits between him and Joel Harvey, but Harvey has been out the past few games, so it'll be Haywood. He was quite busy last game taking the corners. We'll see what he can do with this one.
Rhys Myers falls over in the box, but Butler with another chance here. Off
They try to cross it.
Head of a Xavier defender, and Butler will get a corner, this time from the left corner.
Another opportunity right here. Haywood is going to boot it in. Just too far though.
Xavier able to clear it. A Butler throw in. They're hurrying up, trying to get Xavier out of position. Wilmer loses possession in the middle of the pitch. Back to Xavier. I was talking about Xavier's possession advantage in the first half, but this half it's completely different with Butler controlling the ball much of the half.
That was a good save right there by Justin Savona. Looks like Barnes was passing it over, but went a little bit too far. But Savona was able to save it, get it back in play. That would have been a silly turnover. Xavier would have been able to advance it much further. Looks like that Xavier player went right into the trash can on the sidelines.
Made quite a bit of noise, and he didn't look happy throwing up his hands after the play, but he's back on the pitch as Rhys Myers controls on Butler's half.
Jack Haywood sends it up, hoping one of his teammates can get to it. It's going to go to Hemi Nasser. Little bit of a chance there, but Xavier's defense able to get in the way. It's going to be Butler throw-in. More opportunities, much more than they've had, it looks like, this half. But still so much time remaining, 36 minutes left in this game.
Still not able to break Xavier's defense quite entirely with only one shot since the start of the second half. And we're 10 minutes in to the second half. You're just tuning in. Still 0-0, Butler Bulldogs versus the Xavier Musketeers.
Looks like Hemi Nasser is a little bit frustrated, was looking for a call right there in that sequence of events, but got nothing. Xavier's defense, though, they've been swarming Butler players. They have been really strong defensively, being able to not give them any open looks. just like that, back to Xavier.
Butler is really pushing up with their two center backs, Rhys Myers and Perrin Barnes, moving up the field like we didn't see them quite as much in the first half, as Perrin Barnes barely gets it out after a lot of pressure applied from Botangan.
That was great footwork by Perrin Barnes right there, because if he didn't hold on to it, it could have resulted in a shot, and a good shot.
And Botangan, ever physical. I think he may have fell on the ground about 5 times in the first half, just diving for loose balls. And again, the physicality shows itself as Perrin Barnes was pushed down and a foul was called. DJ Hook's doing a really nice job of taking the space given to him, as Wilmer Cabrera was perhaps pushed down, and he's on the ground. He throws his hands up looking for the call, but again, there's nothing. The refs have not been kind to either team, accepting a lot of the physicality in both boxes.
Yeah, and just right there, it looks like Brendan Hicks went up for the header against Tangent and got the call, and it'll be a Butler kick right here, taken by Jack Haywood, obviously, the main guy who's always doing the free kicks in the corners.
Look for them to target Griffin DeBolt like they did last time, right here. Couldn't quite get a head on it, but it's backed up to Justin Savona, who fires it back in, but saved by Matthew Rosenberg.
That was a close chance right there. Would have been a great goal, but Rosenberg ultimately able to come away with it, and just like that, it will go the other way yet again. But it's good to see Butler, more aggressive on the offensive end of the field instead of just kind of playing defense the whole time, which was kind of what they did in the first half.
Yeah, it was kind of a floater shot, but it was worth the opportunity, and it could have been, headed in from DeBolt or Wilmer, but ultimately it wasn't, as Xavier tries their hand on the other side of the field, and Rhys is able to kick it out. Hemi Nasser not happy, as he believed to be taken down by a Xavier offensive player. Rhys Myers doing a nice job of shielding off Carson Henderlong there. There's not many players, right, Kelly, that can evade Rhys Myers in his tough defense.
Not only is he a leader and he's strong and powerful, but he's a big guy out on the field, so it's hard to get the ball by him. He's tall, he's built, so I think that having Rhys, even having Perrin Barnes, both are just huge anchors for our defense, and that's the reason why Xavier's kind of had a tough time not getting a goal yet this game.
Xavier a little stagnant on the right side of the field. You saw Grant Dumler calling for the ball, trying to switch the fields. That's probably another point of emphasis for Xavier, switching the fields, getting some activity on the offensive end. And here it is, Dumler finally gets the ball on the left side of the field. DJ Hooks kind of sandwiched between two Xavier offensive players, and Xavier players are not happy about that one, but Hooks looked to be sandwiched between them, and he gets the call.
Yeah, Kapanan put his hands up, was not happy about that one. Dumler as well. But this just might be the the shift of pace, momentum that Butler needs to get something going.
Butler gets the throw in. We are 30 minutes and some change left in the second half. Still knotted at 0-0. Butler Bulldogs versus Xavier Musketeers as Xavier pushes it forward now. And a real chance here as Rhys Myers just saves it. Nice play again by Rhys, able to shield off that offensive player.
Yeah, it looked like that was Henderlong who was able to advance it a little bit. Coppin his ball was over there, but Rhys Myers, we keep bringing him up, but totally just saved that one for the Dogs. Huge, huge help on defense and impact on the field in general, controlling everything down there.
You see why Henderlong is able to create so many chances. He applies so much pressure. Him versus Myers is like it's such a good matchup because there's just so much force being applied on both sides.
Griffin DeBall boots it all the way up.
Wilmer Cabrera able to gain possession, but not many Bulldogs are there with him. A nice pass through the seams, and the Bulldogs get another corner. Kelly, how was Butler able to, push the ball and counterattack on that play?
Yeah, I think that Griffin DeBall, great field vision by him, seeing, I have someone up there, and instead of trying to get it through all the Xavier players, which were kind of all scattered, running around the midfield, panicking almost, DeBalt saw that opening and he went for it. Luckily, Cabrera Jr. was able to get a foot on it, take control of it, and I think that that's how Butler wants to score most of their goals is, when the Xavier is not ready, when they're kind of unsettled, they're not able to get back in their formation, and Butler can kind of see that and find those gaps, find one open player, they're able to make something happen. And like I said before, when you see Wilmer Cabrera Jr. is open, you got to give it to him because he can make something happen, and he did make something happen there. And it was so close, but again, Xavier's defense just so strong, able to get in front of everything, it seems like tonight.
DJ Hicks with some one-on-one play. Not quite a goal kick. Actually, it looks like it's a corner. Rhys Myers just nicked it off a Xavier defender, and another corner for the Butler Bulldogs.
And like we mentioned earlier, and this half as well, Rhys Myers, huge part on defense, but there he is on offense, almost just had an opportunity to score, so his impact is huge on this Bulldog
Jack Haywood
team.
sails it in. Again, rejected by a Xavier defender. Another corner for the Bulldogs. They're racking up the corners, Kelly.
Definitely. Compared to the first half where they didn't have really many opportunities, it's just finishing these corners is huge because they were not able to do that their last matchup against Marquette.
Haywood again gets some more air under the ball. Barnes is the only defender back there. It kind of worries me. And a foul by DJ Hicks. And the fans are yelling for a yellow to pull the card out.
Xavier's bench was extremely vocal as well during that. I think every single person on that sideline was screaming for a call.
They're active. They're all on their feet right now.
I think that those last few minutes where Butler had those corners, those opportunities were kind of huge and definitely shifted their momentum. They were attacking, which they were not able to do much in the first half. So I think right now it's just about regrouping them and getting back on that. I see Gabrielle Dergy, he's clapping, not letting this possession ruin their chances or affect the game.
DJ Hicks kicks it upfield to Cabrera. A nice defensive play by Jansen Miller to save the ball. It looked like it was a one-on-one with Cabrera Jr. He stepped up when not many Xavier defenders were back there.
And Butler saw their chance at a potential breakaway, wanted to go for it, but obviously it went out of bounds, and it gave Xavier time to set up their formation. And right now it's a little bit harder to send the ball upfield in advance.
Bulldog substitution to Jack Streeberger for 22, DJ Hooks.
Looks like they're giving DJ Hooks a little bit of a break, bringing in Jack Streeberger. He already saw some time in the first half.
DJ Hooks started for the Bulldogs, really showed a lot of nice play in the second half for the Bulldogs. A lot of one-on-one moves for Hooks, able to create a lot of space and a lot of action. A nice pass to Cabrera Jr. just about 5 minutes ago that almost created a chance until a Xavier defender broke it up. But really nice work from Hooks.
Yeah, and subbing in for him is Jack Streeberger. He's a redshirt sophomore out of Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan. Another Michigan native. But he redshirted freshman season, battled some injuries his sophomore season, only appeared in 3 matches as a redshirt freshman, played a total of 48 minutes, 1 shot at Seton Hall. He's seen a few games this year, had his first career start this season. Some close opportunities against Notre Dame, but has not scored yet on the season. But here he is right now with the ball. Quick feet, but Xavier's defense, again, able to make another stop.
As Butler switches the field. A nice shimmy there from Haywood, and the ball gets booted in, but just kicked out by Xavier. DeBolt tries a long one, again rejected.
They're just able, even when Xavier's defense is able to have a stop, they're able to run, get the ball, and try again, and that's huge. Here we go, another Xavier clear, but another Butler chance.
Ooh.
And that was a good look right there.
A nice boot from about the 20-yard line from Butler's offense. Almost caught the goalie off guard. I don't think he was expecting that one, Kelly.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure he's relieved, though. Now he will send it upfield. I'm sure Xavier's trying to get that control that they had in the first half. Have been unable to hold on to it for too long. Still scoreless, though. 22 minutes left in this game. Regulation, I should say. Savona and Stree tried double teaming right there. Xavier was able to get past.
Dummler and Kapanen with a little nice 1-2 action. And Dummler sails it in. Butler able to clear it out. Back to Xavier. Nice crisp slide tackle to prevent Wilmer Cabrera Jr. from marching up the field, but Butler able to retain possession, loses it again. Cabrera Jr. falls down looking for a call, but the ref is having none of it.
Yeah, you saw Butler's head coach Paul Snape also was looking for something there. This spring 2021 season is actually Paul Snape's 10th season as a coach for the Dogs.
Almost an opportunity for the Xavier Musketeers as Botangan just sails it out, but a little bit of a scare.
Substitution for Xavier. 6, Kate Thompson. For 7, Bryce Curran.
Xavier with the substitution, Cade Thompson coming in for Bryce Curran.
And this is Butler's first kind of late night evening game. The past few games have been around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. This one started at 6, obviously, because there were so many other Butler sporting events happening today, but definitely can feel it. I'm sure they can on the field. Much colder, not that nice fall weather that they're used to playing in. Middle of March, we've had some nice weather in Indianapolis, but right now a little bit chilly, so I'm sure kind of harder to play and run around as the temperature drops.
And Kelly, I know you've been working the other games as analyst, but this one's different, right? With the fans and the atmosphere. What are you feeling from the fans and everything being so different from the other games?
Yeah, I remember the other games. Students who lived in the apartment buildings surrounding the fields were lining up on the walls and trying to do anything to watch these games. Ooh, that was a close one right there by Hemi Nasser. But I think that just having the fans, being able, it's a Saturday night. I'm sure a lot of these players that have family in the Midwest or nearby want to come to these games. And I think obviously it helps people play better. We say that with any sport, fans help kind of, motivate the players on the field. And, when the war song comes on and their parents and friends are cheering, it definitely changes the flow of the game instead of it just feeling like a scrimmage almost. But it's definitely been good, a little bit more normal having some fans at the game, no matter how far away they're spaced out and how many masks they have to wear. But it's just definitely good to kind of get back in the swing of things with everything else being so different. Another thing of note, too, is actually the visiting bleachers are also used as the visiting team's locker room. So I think tonight they were able to go into a locker room, but the past few games, just because of COVID, to limit, any contact, they've been using those bleachers where they put their backpacks and where they have their halftime meetings. But I think as it got a little bit colder tonight, they were able to go inside, which was nice, I'm sure, for them to warm up.
Xavier with an opportunity here as... Oh.
That was a close one.
By Eustace Koppinen was able to garner the cross, and just off the left crossbar, Dergy had no chance at saving that one. He got kind of lucky as it bounced right off the crossbar, and Butler
yeah, definitely very lucky. He was not too close, not close enough at least to make a save, so that crossbar was his friend just then.
Yeah, Butler's been creating a lot more chances. Obviously, had a lot more possession as Xavier makes a substitution, taking Botangan out of the game. But Butler's had a lot more possession, but Xavier, you could just see, soccer it can be so random sometimes, and Xavier almost scoring there despite only having one shot in the second half.
Savona to Streeberger, trying to advance it up the sidelines.
About 16 minutes remaining in the second half as the Butler Bulldogs and the Xavier Musketeers men's soccer teams are tied 0-0. Cabrera Jr. with possession, go left and to the right, but there's nothing. And I think the Butler Bulldogs are looking for a foul call. Kelly, did you see what happened there?
Yeah, I think with Hemi Nasser, as he passed it over to Cabrera Jr., there was a little bit of a collision, and before Cabrera Jr. got that chance, they were looking for the call, and then obviously when he missed it, Hemi Nasser still on the ground, no call. That was a great opportunity, though, right there. They do well. When they can catch the other team's defense off guard, that's when they're able to finish. That's when they're able to score instead of, set piece corner kick or in transition. And I think right there that would have been a great shot for them. Unfortunately, though, could not finish, could not get that call either.
Xavier able to get a call.
Yeah, looks like that was Tommy Visser holding the jersey a little bit. Refs discussing it right now with the players. And just like that, Butler had an opportunity. It is already on the other end, and Xavier is very close.
And it looks like Jerome Jolly will be taking this free kick. He leads the Big East in assists with 5 this year. Connecting with Henderlong might be a point of emphasis on this kick.
Visser able to get a foot on it. Now we have Cabrera Jr. trying to get it out of there.
A nice shot from Xavier's
Jansen Miller.
Just over the crossbar. And
another close chance for them. They've had a lot of close ones this half. 15 minutes left, though. Scoreless.
Gabby Dergy gesturing for his Bulldogs to go upfield. Xavier able to get ahead on it, but Butler gets a throw in it midfield.
Switches fields, goes over to Justin Savona. He has some pressure on him from Kapanen.
DeBolt just gives it up, just past the foot of Haywood. Xavier's possession.
Substitution for the Musketeers, 7, Bryce Curran. For 10, Eustace Kapanen.
As we're seeing another Xavier substitution with Eustace Kapanen coming out for Bryce Curran, who had just subbed out.
Curran had his 3rd goal of the season last game, so I'm sure they have him in here trying to make something happen. He's one of 3 Musketeers with 3 or more goals this season.
DeBolt doing a nice job of winning that ball on the throw-in, and he switches the field. A collision, Streeberger wins the ball.
Yeah, Streeberger and Doomler went at it a little bit.
Streeberger and Hooks are pretty similar players, playing on the right side of the field. A lot of quick footwork, like you mentioned. Up to Streeberger, but Matthew Rosenberg able to easily handle that one.
Some pretty similar stats when we look across the stat line. Xavier 7 shots, Butler 10. Xavier 2 shots on goal, Butler 1. But one stat that is completely different is the number of fouls. Xavier has 11 and Butler only has 4. So that's definitely kind of changed the pace of the game, given Butler some opportunities, whereas Xavier had only 4 compared to those 11 fouls. But everything else is pretty similar. Offsides calls, shots, saves, just differ by 1 or 2.
Kate Thompson with some nice footwork on the sideline there. But back to Butler. Butler trying to push up, switching the field. Back to Streeberger.
I think Justin Savona was a little hesitant there, passing it up with all the Xavier defense kind of swarming, but I heard Rhys Myers yelling, yes, yes, don't hesitate, just go for it. And that's exactly what he did.
And a few nice pitches from Hemi Nasser. Yeah, they've really had some trouble in the last 15 minutes with Xavier having all these opportunities of getting the ball on the feet of Nasser and Cabrera Jr. and Haywood. When it gets in their possession, that's when Butler's creating chances. In the last few minutes, you're not seeing that as much.
Xavier substitutions, 23 Noah Boffo for 6 Cade Thompson, and 9 Felix Botangan for 12 Carson Henderlong.
As Felix Botangan makes his return, as well as Noah Boffo.
Looks like DJ Hicks will also come in.
Substitution, 22 DJ Hooks for 2 Jack Streeberger. Go DJ!
With just about 10 minutes remaining in regulation time, it remains 0-0 Butler Bulldogs and Xavier Musketeers as Botangan pushes up. 1 versus 5, unable to get anything there, but they do retain possession.
Yeah, you've been emphasizing it all game. Botangan's, how he can get it by so many defenders. His aggression has definitely helped him throughout the game. He's not afraid to, go right at Butler's defense, and I think that's been huge.
There's something to be said for, not caring about possession and just being able to apply pressure, and that's really what Botangan's excelling at this game. Nice
Great
boot.
clear right there by DJ Hooks. Unfortunately, no Bulldogs up there, but good way to kind of allow them to reset, not give Xavier any more easy looks. And that was a great effort, too, by Jack Haywood and Justin Savona to kind of get it over to Hooks to allow that little bit of a break.
DeBolt wins a header, but it's going back to Xavier for a throw-in on Butler's half. Jolly down the middle of the field fires a shot. Botangan goes down. Looks like incidental contact. A Xavier corner.
Looked like Jolly had a pretty open look. He was the lone Xavier offender right there. But Butler's defense able to step up. Looked like that was Rhys Myers who got in the way of the ball.
As Jolly will fire the corner kick. Rhys Myers again with the header. No one was really there, but Myers able to save it.
Nasser and Cabrera Jr. now. Them two immediately noticed it was just them two and sprinted up the field, but unfortunately were stopped by Xavier's defense. A lot of them were able to catch up.
Nasser with a little bit of a bad touch there, giving it up. But a nice idea with the counterattack. I think that's probably what Coach Paul Snape is looking for with the counterattack. And whenever those two have the ball, it's usually a good sign for the Bulldogs. We're struggling a little bit, right, Kelly, to create any chances as we have 7 minutes remaining in regulation time.
Definitely, just 7 minutes. Seems like a lot of time, but in soccer, it's not too much time for either team. But I think, they've been trying off of the corners. Cabrera Jr. has caught it a few times, so I'm not really sure what the answer is right now. I think, they just have to keep attacking. There's not much else you can do when you're getting it to one of your top scorers and getting those corner opportunities. They've obviously been getting a lot of foul calls in their favor as well. So, they're getting a lot of chances. I just think that, when it comes down to it, it's just getting a good, clean shot that doesn't go right to Rosenberg.
Butler really pushing up. Barnes again, the lone defender past that 50-yard line mark. DeBolt to Nasser, who loses possession, but back to DeBolt. A nice run by Cabrera Jr. there to Hemi Nasser, who fires it in. And it looks like it was just saved. Really close to that sideline. It actually looks like it will be a corner for the Butler Bulldogs.
That could have been a really good look by Hemi Nasser. He was able to kind of get control of it so close to the goal. But yet again, Xavier's defense is really impressing me with how they are literally able to get in the way of every single shot opportunity for Butler.
Jack Haywood with the corner. Wilmer Cabrera Jr. with the opportunity, but unable to capitalize. Matthew Rosenberg will have the goal kick with 5 minutes remaining in regulation time.
For the Musketeers, 10, Eustace Coppenden. For 23, Noah Botho. And 12, Carson Henderlong. For 13, Jerome Jolly.
Xavier bringing in their top goal scorer, Carson Henderlong, who has scored 7 goals in 7 games. But making an interesting decision, taking out Jerome Jolly, who had an opportunity there earlier, a little bit earlier, and who leads the Xavier Musketeers in assists this year. Ref blows its whistle. Botangan was being a little too aggressive going for the header. And Butler looks again, like you were saying, Kelly, to get Xavier off guard. Not quite able to. 3 guys back for the Butler Bulldogs, trying to switch the fields.
Kapanen tries to apply that pressure onto Bolt. He also just recently subbed in for the Musketeers. He's from Finland.
What a ball from Haywood to Hooks, and that's really Haywood's forte, are those deep, long crosses. But Butler again gives it up in the middle of the field. Xavier with a little bit of an advantage here, and a nice run. Just missed the target, a difficult angle for Eustace Kapanen. But a nice run by Eustace Kapanen.
Just under 3 minutes to go, 0-0. I was curious to see if Dergy would hold back or attack. He chose to attack.
And Butler's really got to be on the lookout for those counterattacks, those spur-of-the-moment runs like Kapanen had there. At the same time, they've got to look to score, obviously.
It's going to be Henderlong going up after a pass from Curran. Barnes making sure the ball safely gets to Dergy as he'll boot it upfield.
A kick that goes right back to the Xavier Musketeers. I'm not sure if he just missed that kick or where it was exactly going, but the Xavier Musketeers have it. Botangan with another foul. He pitched it and it wasn't the best touch. A little bit surprised the refs haven't given many warnings or much less any cards. A lot of fouls, obviously, by the Xavier Musketeers. Xavier tries to push it upfield with just over 1 minute remaining. 0-0, Butler and Xavier.
DeBalt tried to intercept that pass, but Kapanen unable to get away with it. Another chance right there. Savona lucky he did not get called for a foul in the box as Xavier went down. Some Xavier fans upset about that. That would have been
1 minute to play.
1 minute remaining. Still tied up 0-0. Griffin DeBolt boots it upfield. No one in sight. Xavier will have a throw in on their own half.
Just 20 seconds left, still scoreless. So if this game does go into overtime, if Butler is not able to score, we will have a brief 5-minute intermission, and then we'll head to the overtime period. Hooks right here.
10, 8, 7, 6, 5.
5 seconds remaining, and this is Butler's last chance. And it is.
And it looks like we will be heading to overtime. So just so everyone, we are all on the same page, we will have a 5-minute intermission. We will have a 10-minute overtime period, sudden victory. So whoever scores wins the game. If no one scores then, we will have a 2-minute intermission and then our second 10-minute sudden victory overtime. And now our PA announcer is repeating it. So we will take a quick break. We'll be back in just under 5 minutes for the first overtime period.
back. This is Drew Favka.
I'm Kelly Hallinan, and it is the first overtime period, sudden victory.
0-0 through 90 minutes, so we'll be playing a golden goal. The first to score earns the victory.
Yeah, and if nobody scores in this first 10-minute period, as we mentioned, be a quick intermission period again, and then a second overtime 10-minute period. But if nobody scores in either of these, it will be a draw. And the reason that we do not go to penalty kicks is because it's not a tournament, there's no advancing, and so they can draw. There does not need to be a winner.
And Kelly, for the golden goal, if a Xavier Musketeer player scores, who do you think that player will be?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with, it's going to be Henderlong, I'm thinking, or it's going to be Botangen. Both of them have been huge presence on the field for Xavier. And I think that, if it's going to be one of them, they've been showing their aggression this whole game, and they haven't been quiet at all. They've had shots on goal. They've definitely, been a presence on the field and been trouble for Butler's defense. So I definitely am going to have to go with one of them.
And Botangen with that physicality, and Xavier just in general with that physicality. Kelly, we were told that they were issued a warning in the second half. What do you know about that warning that Xavier and Butler players were issued?
Yeah, so obviously we can't hear much from up here, but we do think that there was just a lot of, complaining about the fouls, players coming out, or players on the bench, yelling, coaches coming out on the field a little too far, and I think that the refs kind of gave them a warning and said, with all of this yelling and behavior, and I will issue a yellow card. So both teams definitely, and coaches, have to watch out for that.
As Henderlong able to get it to his left foot, unable to get a chance. Back to Jolly, and Gabby just controls it. Didn't look like Jolly was able to aim for his target as Butler defenders swarmed him, but nonetheless, a nice chance for the Xavier Musketeers as Visser controls on the left side of the field for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and Henderlong was involved in that sequence right there. As we mentioned, he's ranked second on the team with 7 goals, and out of those 7, 3 of those are game-winning goals. So, I think he's got the target on his back that he's the game-winning goal guy, and I think that he could potentially have that golden goal in this period.
As Xavier again marches up the field. A nice through pass. Dergy just comes out.
Great pressure right there by Griffin to Bolt.
Xavier again making nice runs up the pitch with just 1 or 2 defenders back there. Those are dangerous, Kelly.
Definitely.
And for the Bulldogs, if they're able to get the golden goal, my prediction is that Wilmer Cabrera Jr., the leading goal scorer for the Bulldogs, who scored 3 goals in their win against DePaul, will be the guy scoring. The question is, though, how are they going to get him the ball?
I think that one's all through Jack Haywood. I think, Wilmer Cabrera Jr. is the obvious pick. He's the, the guy, the goal scorer, the one everyone talks about, the Big East honors. But I think that right now, we're sleeping on Tommy Visser. I think, coming out this season, not being able to play last season, he's been a huge presence.
Oh, Jerome Jolly with a great ball across the pitch.
I might have to change my answers to one of them, including Jolly. He has come out in this overtime period, guns blazing, and has had 2 opportunities now for that golden goal. So I might have to include Jolly. We'll do a top 3 instead of top 2. But yeah, as for Butler, I think Tommy Visser, he's come right out and has been an extremely effective player, replacing some gaps that needed to be filled from last year. Jared Timmer leaving, he now plays for the Indy 11. Alex Letnin, Brandon Gould, some major help by the seniors in goal scoring. I think Tommy Visser's definitely filled that one of those gaps, and has been a huge part of this Bulldog team. And then obviously Jack Haywood, you know, Butler can't do anything without Jack Haywood. He's running up the field, assisting. He has great field vision. He's doing their free kicks, their corner kicks, and I think whatever is going to happen in this overtime period, if Butler were to get a goal, Jack Haywood is going to have something to do with it.
DeBolt with a nice pass to Hemi Nasser, back to Visser. Nice control from the Bulldogs here.
Brenton Hicks up to Hemi Nasser, a little bit too far. Let's see if he can save it.
Nasser frustrated that he wasn't able to get to it. Would have been a nice opportunity as he kicks it up the hill. And the Xavier Musketeers, Matthew Rosenberg, will have the goal kick with 4 minutes remaining in our golden goal.
Hey guys! Can you hold it? Ping, ping, ping!
Jolly with an opportunity down the middle of the pitch yet again. A nice run by Jolly as well.
Quick give and go right there.
He falls, but no call on the pitch as Xavier fans again are angry about that one.
Jack Haywood able to get control of it and get it over to DeBolt.
DeBolt tried a long kick to Cabrera Jr., who was facing just one Xavier defender, but unable to retain possession.
Another opportunity.
Rhys Myers able to save it.
Gabrielle Dergy clapping his hands, not ready to give up just yet. 3 minutes left in this first 10-minute period. This corner right now is huge for Xavier. I'm sure they want to finish the game.
Jerome Jolly booting it in with his left foot. Still not cleared. Barnes clears it, but back to a Musketeer. Cleared out by the Butler Bulldogs.
Looks like that clear was by Jack Haywood. Presence on offense, presence on defense. It's going to be Rosenberg in control right now. Not rushing, want to set something up. Every possession counts when it is sudden victory. And just 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
Barnes stepping up, but losing possession to Jolly. A scary moment for the Bulldogs, but Myers able to get possession. Butler trying to get something going, switching the fields.
Bell able to stop that. It's going to be a Butler throw-in. DeBolt's going to throw it in.
Substitutions from both sides. Felix Botangan coming in for Jerome Jolly.
And 7 Bryce Curran for 18 Parker Pearl. For the Bulldogs, 19 Ethan King.
Curran's another goal scorer who subbed in for Xavier. 3 goals this season, and then Ethan King subbing in as well. Hopefully he can show some of his upperclassmen leadership and experience in helping Butler finish this game with the W.
And we haven't seen him in a while, but he did sub in earlier for a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely think it helps that he subbed in earlier, so it's not his first time seeing the fields, and he's, completely caught off guard. I know sometimes that's hard if you haven't played yet and you're subbing in 1 minute left in an overtime period, but I'm sure the fresh legs definitely helps, and he'll be able to have an impact, able to warm up on the bench a little bit.
Looks like a Xavier player was experiencing a cramp, and Jack Haywood was helping him out.
Looks like that was Henderlong, who was one of my picks for the golden goal. Looks like he'll go to the sideline, maybe take a quick break.
I wouldn't be surprised if he just comes right back on.
Exactly. Looks like he's stretching out right now.
He's
One
their
thing-
leading goal scorer with 7 goals.
Definitely. One thing that I talked to some of them after the game last time, and it's tiring playing for this long. Last game they played 110 minutes against Marquette. It ended up being a draw, and it was almost like all that time, and it wasn't even a win or a lose, it was a draw. Rosenberg able to get that one. Xavier will send it quickly upfield.
1 minute to play.
But as I was saying that, you know, it's hard playing for 110 minutes. It's hard playing for 90 minutes, and then you're going to add in the cold in March. You know, obviously they're very tired. People are starting to cramp up. But, you know, not too much time left. 45 seconds, and then we'll have one more 10-minute period. So hopefully everyone will be able to finish the game.
35 seconds remaining. 0-0, Butler, Xavier.
Ethan King right there tries to send it to Visser, it looks like, but Xavier got in the way. Just 20 seconds to go. If there is no golden goal, we will do another brief intermission and come back for one last 10-minute period.
9, 8, 7,
10 seconds remaining.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
One last shot attempt there by Butler before we head into this
We
brief
are still scoreless
intermission.
after our first sudden victory overtime period. We will have a 2-minute intermission followed by a second and final 10-minute period.
All right, welcome back. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to the Butler Athletics broadcast of the Butler Bulldogs taking on the Xavier Musketeers. We are in our last 10 minutes of play. If you have been here since 100 minutes ago, we really appreciate you. Thank you for listening. And it'll be our second overtime period, 0-0. Just under 10 minutes to go. We've seen a lot of action today despite no score on the board, but We've seen a few great shot attempts by Xavier, a few opportunities by Butler in the second half. No one able to finish though. So we will see which team, if any, can get a golden goal in the next 10 minutes. Otherwise, it will be a draw. And if that's the case, Xavier will not have had a first Big East win yet. Right now they're 0-2 in the Big East. And if it is a draw for Butler, that will be their second draw in a row, and they will still remain at just one Big East win. So we will see. But right now, we are in our last 9 minutes.
DeBolt with a booming kick to Hemi Nasser. Looked like a 40-yard kick. And it does put Xavier in a little bit of a compromising position, which placed the Butler's advantage. As Nasser gets the ball back. Nice Maradona by Visser. Again, trickles out of bounds for a Xavier throw-in on their own half.
Little breakthrough right here. Nasser to Cabrera Jr. No call. Would have been in the box too.
A nice through ball by Nasser, and that's the thing we're lacking from the Bulldogs, are those runs, are those through balls that you're seeing from the Xavier side, not so much from the Bulldogs, but Cabrera Jr. does not get the call. And this time you're hearing the Bulldog fans yelling from the bleachers.
Yeah, I saw visibly Jack Haywood threw his arms up, was looking for that call. That would have been huge, obviously, if there was a foul in the box right then and there, but nothing, and it'll be just 7 minutes, 30 seconds to go. Xavier now in control.
A nice run by Jerome Jolly.
Barnes able to block that, though, from getting to another Xavier offender.
Rhys Myers with a nice ball, a clearance, and Butler gets the foul call.
They've been getting quite a few foul calls today. 14 fouls on Xavier, just 4 on Butler. Both teams have 12 shots. Rhys deciding whether to advance it to Hicks or to Savona. Ultimately goes with Hicks. Now it'll be DJ. Defender right on him. Koppinen challenging Savona right there, but he is able to send it back to the defense. Switch fields.
Haywood loses the ball at midfield. Back to Botangan. Down the middle of the field.
Looks like that was his own teammate who actually got in the way of that one.
Jolly with a nice ball in, but a nice play by Barnes, who falls down and is back to Xavier. A nice defensive effort by the Bulldogs.
Definitely one thing the Dogs do not want to do is, on those breakaways, avoid fouling in the box. I mean, it's obvious, but after playing for this long, 100+ minutes, the last thing you want to do is lose from an easy goal that could have been preventable by just not fouling. We'll come back to Savona. He's looking to send it up to either Hooks or Nasser.
Kelly, what are you seeing different in this second overtime from the Bulldogs?
Yeah, I think from this second overtime, they have a ton more energy. You'd think they'd be tired. I'm sure they're tired. I'm sure they're sore after playing for this long in the cold. But their energy is totally different. It's like I'm watching a different team from them what I watched in the first half. The first half just seemed much more relaxed, as it normally is, but just a lot more energy, a lot more opportunities they've had in the second half. First overtime period, second overtime period. They just look like a much more aggressive team. Definitely showing that they really want this.
And that's sort of the story of the Butler Bulldogs this year. With 1 win, 4 losses, and 1 tie, I'm sure that they're looking for a win, as you can see with their aggression in the second overtime.
I blamed those first 4 losses as, you know, they're just getting their losses out of the way before Big East play, but
Jack Haywood with an explosive
reaction right there.
That's the word I was looking for.
I lost my train of thought because I heard a bunch of yelling on the field, but it'll be Jack Haywood right now with it. But yeah, I thought those first few losses, they had a postponed season, they had an inconsistent practice schedule. I felt for them. They hadn't played other opponents in so long, most of them. But now they're back in Big East play. They haven't lost a game in Big East play. Their last one was a draw, so I think that they've done their losses. They don't need any more, and that's kind of where this momentum and this energy is kind of coming from.
We've got just under 4 minutes remaining in the second overtime. Like we've said, if there are no goals in the second overtime, we will have a draw. As Rosenberg controls, and now Xavier is trying to counterattack. Nice ball.
Looks like Dergy is able to save that before it went out of bounds to prevent a Xavier corner.
Eustace Kapanen with a great run. Another risky play for the Bulldogs. They're pushing so many people up that those counterattacks are possible and even probable.
Henderlong is back in after he subbed out in the first overtime period. Looked like he was a little bit sore, probably cramping up. Stretched a little bit, and now he's back. He's the one with 3 game-winning goals. So we'll see what he can do back on the field. Just under 3 minutes to go in this last overtime period. A lot of these long passes back and forth are taking a lot of time off the clock.
Nice little play. Hemi touches it twice. Back to Hemi Nasser on the left sideline. Hemi Nasser
able to get by Xavier's defense, but no one was there to boot it in. Cabrera Jr. and Haywood were close, but Xavier's defense able to get there first.
An errant pass leads to a Botangan 1 versus 3. He doesn't care though. He's marching down the field. Rhys Myers stifles him. DJ Hooks keeps it in bounds. We have just under 2 minutes remaining. 0-0 Butler Bulldogs and Xavier Musketeers.
Those 2 chances right there by Hemi Nasser and Botangan were very close. Cabrera Jr. with another potential opportunity, but a lot of back and forth right now. Not one team can hold on to it. It's a little over a minute to go. Haywood pressuring now. Knows time is winding down and they need to make the most of it.
Henderlong in the middle of the pitch. This is not where Butler wants him. Xavier fans are yelling for a corner, but that's going to be a goal kick for Gabby Dergy.
Just 1 minute to go. Let's see what Butler can do. They have the ball. I'm sure they're going to try to advance it as quick as they can. Very little time for either team to get that golden goal.
DeBolt with another boot to Cabrera Jr., who collides with the Xavier defender. Cabrera Jr. is called for the foul.
Time is winding down. Despite the coaches complaining.
Coach Paul Snape hits the seat. He is not happy with that call. It looked like that Xavier defender caused that collision with Cabrera Jr., Kelly.
Just under 20 seconds. I'm not sure why they are waiting so long as time is winding down.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And after 110 minutes, there was not one goal scored in either goal, in any goal. And that will be it. 0-0, Butler Xavier, scoreless, double overtime. Neither team could get that golden goal. For one more time, thank you for watching the Butler Athletics broadcast. We look forward to seeing you in our next broadcast. Butler will face Creighton on the road next, so we will not be joining you, but it'll be their first road trip of this season facing the Blue Jays. So again, I'm Kelly Hallinan.
And I'm Drew Favica.
And thank you for watching.